Mm. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the StarSim dev stream, fifth one. I'm joined with Vernus again.
You are. I'm here. So I think we're going to be. I thought you were UC. No, that is UC. Oh, that's the UC. What that Vanguard
Yes, the
pilot?
Vanguard.
I mean, it's Crimson Fleet ish, right? It looks the same colors. You're fine.
I'm pretty sure the Crimson Fleet armor is actually based off the UC stuff.
Well, to be fair, they're fine with this, right? Because that's a way for you to kind of blend in when you're doing nefarious actions, right? So you're good. So when we left off for the last stream, I think you had just saved Neva. She was being attacked by Ecliptic.
Yeah.
And then she's like, cool, you did what we said. I'm happy. I'm sending you the coordinates to the key, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. So as you can see, when this happens in different quests, the key now is on here, so you don't need to blindly go and find it. If the quest explicitly gives you the coordinates, that's not the case for all of them. So now the benefit is you're over in Phobos. So if you can plot a course over to the key, we want to kind of give these breadcrumbs to make it easier to get to these places. So ideally now, you're not guessing how to get to Crimson Fleet territory, even though it's not too difficult from Phobos. So we'll keep identifying if quests explicitly say, hey, I'm handing you the coordinates to this location, and it's some place that you have not found so far, then boom. Now you have it on the network map, you can plot the course to it, and then you're set. This one's a little bit further to get over there, so I can see this taking a 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute.
We're just gonna take us like this way.
You can go east.
And then bring this up. Oh.
Yeah,
That's
east.
a long way.
Nope, you'll see. It's because the network map is sparse. It spaces out. Yep, that's the best route. And it actually, no, it does go through some interesting stuff. There you go. That's the best route.
Finished.
It finished, right? Yeah, I think it said, I saw the message for it, course. So now, we should have the east gate to Ursa Minor popping up with the plotted gate thingamabob.
Orientate myself. There we go.
There we go. Plotted gate. So, nice little trek to get over to the key. Maybe we'll see some interesting stuff along the way. I know you will, because I designed it. No.
Just locking onto the platform.
The targeting.
There
It's can get a little frustrating in Starfield.
Is it straight east?
Oh yeah. Which, again, you don't need to wait for the plotted course thing to pop up if it takes a moment to finally get on here. Like, if you look at the map, you can see, the general direction of the plot is east, so if that's not showing up, which sometimes it doesn't, engine works weirdly, we're going to still keep digging into that, or it takes a moment like this. You can basically eyeball, like, that was the original premise behind this, is you can eyeball positions and kind of what direction you need to take, especially now that we have directions on the gates. without even using this plotted gate mechanism. So when the plotted course goes on there, and let's say this doesn't show up, you're going, okay, from based on the map and how it was set up, I need to go east twice, south, whatever, and then west and whatever to get over there. So you don't even need the plotted gate. So like right now, we went east twice. Now it was saying we had to go south from here. So even before the plotted gate comes up, it would definitely be the south gate going into, right, well, the plotted gate thing popped up anyway, so forget me. But yeah, it's reading the network and understanding it's just a 2D grid, right? Up, down, left, right lines, north, south, east, west. You can just read it. Like the plotted gate thing is cool, and I know that's going to help a lot of folks with it. But you know, if you're just reading it and you see, okay, well, it plotted this way, or I'm just eyeballing it and going, all right, well, there's the key. So kind of, sort of, from looking at the map, I need to go like over X amount of spots east and south. Now, obviously, you can't do that because of the way that the actual map is designed. There's contours to it. Somebody brought up maze, for instance. I guess, kind of. But you can look at it and kind of eyeball the route you have to take to get to some of these places. Now, this is one thing here. So this is kind of shown in an encounter that happens. Actually, there's multiple encounters here. So you have a semi-unique point of interest on the planet over there, the deserted Freestar Collective Garrison. You have the shipping crate, which was a thing placed in this orbit as a quote-unquote encounter.
Two things popping up at once.
Yeah, well, you must be very lucky, because apparently sometimes the engine gets kind of stuck. I want to say that was a ship that blows up. Yeah, the ship blows up when you arrive in here and then gives you a bunch of loot. Rambler. Yep, that's one of ours. Actually, I'm pretty sure... Oh, flowing through the debris. I'm pretty sure that's a capital ship.
Yes, I think so.
Ships. Rambler is a carrier. Yeah, so this is a carrier that was destroyed, probably by the Crimson Fleet. Who knows? That's very likely, since you're about to fly into Crimson Fleet territory, that the carrier got taken out.
The only gates.
Oh yeah, there's only one through here. Well, you're in their territory, yes. So you'd want to, yeah, and you can see they went friendly now because you joined the Crimson Fleet. So you're going to want to be heading west now to head towards the inner portion of Crimson Fleet territory. Question: is there a compass to better feel northeast, southwest while flying through space? How do you use it? Well, it's the names of the gates. You can't really. Generally speaking, the planet kind of sort of ends up north, but that's not true everywhere, so you can't even use that as a frame of reference. As you can see right now, as Xylo's flying towards it, the gates are going to be explicitly named with the direction. Now, system gates, ones that are going to take you into a different system, will say system gate and whatever location it's going to. So in those cases, you have to infer direction by the other gates in the orbit itself, because if I add more onto those, it can clip and actually cut off the characters in the naming. Be careful, Zyla. You are flying into the danger zone.
Minefield. Is it the... Oh no, it's this way.
Either one works. Ooh. We need to put more mines in here. This ain't minefield enough. Mine clusters. You're just flying. You're just meandering along right through the minefield. So this orbit, you'll see there's the actual beacons that are blinking that show you the clear, safe paths through here, which the AI will kind of generally use. They're kind of 50-50 on it. We need more mines in here. Definitely need more mines. This one you only have one gate, I think. Yeah. Alright, we should be going into the key. So, anybody that's played this, the key, at least in vanilla, was a really good place to go to if you wanted to go and do some space combat, because it would usually have quite a few ships and then laser towers and stuff like that. So when I was bored and I wanted like some excitement, I'd fly my arm to the Deep Sea class ship in there and wipe them out, and then I was it. There was really no other major battles in the entire game, which was, for me, disappointing because I like to have those battles. As we come into the key right now, you will see that's not something you can do anymore when you get through the wormhole. Yeah, so once it starts turning on what now is inside their capital location, you will see that it is basically impossible for you. You could attempt it with, Watchtower, Fleet Commander, and bringing a fleet in, but I mean, there's many capital ships that'll be in here once it starts getting them to actually show up. Here they come. So you got your flagship carrier with its wings. You have its escort, which are going to start showing up in a moment. Really slow. There's definitely something running right now that keeps beating up the system. You're a few hours in, right? Are we past the simulation spawning?
Yeah.
Alright. I was kind of watching this. And your PC with a controller. Unless we have it spawn more stuff. I forget. It's been so long since we set this one up. I mean, the Reaper's active. I can see it moving right now, so it could still be spawning things in. You may not be done your entire setup. The Reaper should have quite a few ships that are part of its escort and stuff that'll probably come in, so you may not be completely finished. Or they're there, and I'm not seeing. I see broken stuff to your right, which was there in the base game. I see the stuff we added on here. But regardless, a carrier by itself is already going to be a threat because you're dealing with a very strong capital ship, plus it'll go and spawn. If she were to attack it, please don't. They're very difficult to take down because you're going to get hit by basically one-shot weapons if you're too close to it, and it has the wings that it sends out to attack you with. So on its own, a carrier is the strongest ship in the entire game. There's going to be a flagship that is basically at every one of the capitals, and then you'll see carrier patrols wandering about. Let's go head over to the key and just do all that stuff now. Yeah, it's, well, that was the thing in the earlier builds where, like, the Look Alive would play 7,000 times as the ships were leaving the hangar for a carrier.
You got your cut. Now get out of my face. You said the take was 10K, but it was 30. Big difference on 40% of 10 versus 30. You wanted 4K, you got 4K. Not my problem. If you're stealing from me, you bet your ass it's your problem.
You kidding me? Way to make a mess in front of my new rook.
Hey, steal from me and get caught? Better off dead.
Sounds like you did the fleet a favor. Now toss this body out of an airlock before it turns into a damn air freshener. The hell took you so long? Forget how to grav jump or something? Never apologize. Not if you want anyone in the fleet to respect you. And if they don't respect you, put a gun to their head and they'll get the message. But, all that aside, you made it. So now, you get to hear a nifty history lesson. Pencils ready? Good. This floating scrap heap you're standing on is called the Key. Used to be an old UC military star station, and now it's the fleet's base of operations. Might look a little beat up on the outside, but we keep it together. Hell yeah, it is. Just watch your back when you do. Cred sticks tend to disappear around here, if you catch my meaning. Anyway, I'll tell you all about the Key, but it's better if I show you too. Follow me. All right, history time. So, the Key is in orbit around Suvorov. That's the very same ice ball where the United Colonies built a supermax prison they call the Lock. The UC is so clever. Supermax prison, Lock, Key. Cute, huh? Now, we've got everything the fleet needs right here. Of course, you've got to pay for it. Remember, on the Key, credits are king. What the hell is this?
All right, hang on, Nev. Before you get pissed, I've got my hands full.
Jasmine, sweetie, I'm trying to give a tour here. So you want to tell me why those damn doors are sealed?
It's called a malfunction. You know, that thing I spend most of my day dealing with. Believe me, my people are on it. Have a little faith for once.
Aw. And you always, Angel. This here's Jasmine. You need anything for your ship, she's got you covered. We'll hit up the depot next since these doors have given out on us. So anyway, we were talking about the Lock. About 100 years ago, the prisoners down there rioted and took over the place. After stealing some ships, they were actually able to make it up here and took over the key.
About time you brought us new blood, Neva. I was getting tired of trading with the same old faces.
You're just ticked everyone's getting wise to your ridiculous prices, Aludra. Anyway, welcome to the depot, Rook, where you'll be lucky if these blood-sucking leeches don't bleed you completely dry.
Whoa, whoa. It's not our fault that people don't appreciate how much it costs to get untraceable merchandise onto the key.
Neva's just whining because she thinks she lost a ton of cash selling us a shipment of gear. She should have done her homework.
Yeah, sure, laugh it up. I'll remember that next time I need something from you cheapskates. Let's move on. Back to my story. After the liberated
Going through
prisoners
the
grabbed
tour of
key,
the base
they
here, huh?
established it as a
Yeah.
base of operations and began pirating the
Very nice.
spaceways. That was how the Crimson Fleet began. Of course, Jasper Cricks had a lot to do with all that, but we'll get to him later. Rook, meet Zuri, Queen of
Yeah,
the
Crimson
Rare
Fleet by far
If I don't
it
have
has
it,
the biggest
you don't
impact
need
on
it.
StarSim. We had to put a lot of QA
Neuro
into
and
this because
blueprints.
they do
Hit
some
her up and
interesting
she'll take
curveballs
care of
along
you.
the way.
Speaking of which,
as you
you
work
still
through the
owe me for that
storyline,
last purchase, Neva. It's
And I
like
watched
5
them in
figures.
action.
Don't
and
make me collect it the hard way.
crazy amount of code we needed to make this work.
The hard way. Oh no. Rook, protect me from Zuri's
The Jade Swan and the
vengeance.
prototype ship was
Enough of the bullshit, Zuri. I'll
not fun.
pay you when I pay you. Deal with it. Got a problem with that? Take it up with the boss. On the right, you've got Bradley from the Trade Authority. I'm sure you know the deal there. He'll buy pretty much anything, no matter how hot. Then we got our med bay on the left, run by the one and only Samina Mizra. She'll patch you up, if you've got the money. We don't run any free clinics up in here, you don't? Okay, this is our final stop. Over there, you've got the Last Nova, where Bog serves watered-down drinks at ridiculously exorbitant prices. And right here is the most important place on the entire station. The Reckoner's Core, run by the incomparable Shinya Voss.
Another new Rook, Neva? I can't believe Delgado still lets you recruit given what happened with the last one.
You mean Austin Wraith?
See, down this
It's
one,
been taken care of,
I've been
alright?
thinking about this a bit here,
I don't
Xylo.
like loose
You know,
ends, and
basically
this book is
they're
the one
hacked
who tied it
into
off.
like the stock
Perhaps
markets of
next
all the
time you'll
different
try to be a
stuff,
bit more
and you can see it playing out in
discerning
all the
regarding
screens
your
above,
choices.
and then they're hacked into all the
Oh,
banks and
cost
call bank
effective.
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
this is
looking
something.
too
Well, one,
dark.
I'd love to have the ability to actually
Anyway,
show graphics like
Shinya
this in our
handles
stock
our
market
life.
versus
The
terminals.
money. We call him our
and two,
Reckoner, but if you
Having
ask
more
me,
stuff with the Crimson
he's
Fleet able to
actually a
hack
pain
in.
the
Now, I
ass.
feel like
And Neva will
Ryujin
slit your throat if she thinks
makes
she's
more
your
sense for
What the hell,
hacking,
boss?
like espionage
Take care
and
of our
hacking
new
into,
friend
but
here, or
this
I'll
is
find a way
blatantly
to put
part
a
of the
pin
lore.
on
The
that
Crimson
little
Fleet
party
does
popper in your
this.
chest.
So it'd be
Anyway,
interesting to have ways
Shinya
to
will get
basically
you set
hack
up in our
into
system.
different
I've
markets,
got real
change
work to
numbers
do.
even. So like you
Once
go
you're
in there
done,
and you
head
hack into a
upstairs and I'll
corporation
introduce
and
you
you
to
make
the
it so that,
boss.
you know, their
Time for a
numbers are going up
proper
for whatever
introduction.
reason, fake buy orders,
I am
and
Shinya
then
Voss,
you're able to kind of take
the
advantage of
official
this,
reckoner
whatever,
of
and maybe
the
it fixes
Crimson
itself,
Fleet.
and maybe they even try to detect
since
who's
Neva
doing
so
these kind of
thoughtfully
things,
mentioned it,
and it becomes
yes,
harder to do
this is a bomb
as they
embedded
do
in my
bug
chest.
fixes
And
and
no,
hardening
I'll
of
never know the
security or
meaning of the
whatever.
word humble.
Um,
In fact, I find Delgado's idea of a security measure to be quite empowering.
So it'd be interesting to be able to go and add on to this.
That's amusing. I don't think I've heard that one before. Oh, wait. Yes, I have. You might as well dispense with all the stupid jokes. I've been hearing them for years. Since I oversee the bulk of transactions and maintain all accounts for the fleet, I'm a prime target for information. Should our enemies capture me or I grew any semblance of a moral conscience, you might consider me the greatest threat we have. For Delgado, the bomb grants peace of mind and a certain degree of safety. It's why he's the boss. Of course, I'm not the first reckoner to bear a bomb under my ribcage, but Delgado was smart enough to continue the tradition. Now, let me get you set up. A moment while I convene with the core. Thanks to advanced modifications even Ryujin would envy, I can interface directly with our mainframe and the Galbank network. This allows me to move and clean credits faster and more efficiently than any run-of-the-mill cyber runner. There, you're done. All you need now is Delgado's blessing, and you'll be one of us. The perfect segue into my final subject. Thanks to our relations with contacts across the galaxy, we always have a steady stream of jobs available. I've granted you all the necessary permissions to access these listings at any time, using the computers that surround the core. If Neva's chosen wisely, we certainly will. Now, I believe that covers all I have to say, so you can run along to Delgado. Take the elevator to the upper level. You should be able to find your way from there, I hope.
Alright, listen up. You can all stop complaining. Atrium to cargo bay doors have been repaired. Oh, and you're welcome. Now.
Time to meet the boss.
Ah, there's our other new recruit. So, now that we are all here, it's time to get down to business. The two of you are the only rooks that have made the latest cut. The rest, well, let's just say they won't be joining us ever again. Neva's willing to put her neck on the line and vouch for you, which means you've got what it takes to join the Crimson Fleet. You'd better not disappoint, or you'll find yourself answering to me, personally. All right, let's get started here. When you sign up with the Crimson Fleet, you're in it for the long haul. No one quits. No one retires. The only way out is death. You stay loyal or you pay the consequences. Fleet before friends. Fleet before family. Fleet before yourself. Boss. Good. You're getting it already. I like that.
Can we get on with this? I want to get drunk at the last Nova.
I'm impressed. That is the first intelligent thing you have said this entire time, Mathis. Since you two seem so eager to move forward, let's get to your next job. Pack your cold weather gear, Rooks. Where we are going, you're going to need it.
Oh, God, don't tell me you're dragging him down to Suvarol for another one of your little initiation runs. 10 Johns to the surface, 12 dead Rooks. You'd think by now you would have given up on that goddamn campfire story.
Crix's legacy is no story, Neva. We've got fresh eyes in the fleet. And if these two want to impress, they're going to help me search those ruins.
I hope you're right, Dale. That new code we grabbed for the lot cost us a ton of credits. And a decent captain.
This initiation, as Neva calls it, is your chance to see where it all began. On Suvorov with Jasper Crix. Crix led the riots that gave birth to the Crimson Fleet. And if his legacy is still out there, we're going to be the ones to find it. Before Crix left the fleet, he left a message talking about a major score. One that would set up the fleet to be a big player in the settled systems. Somewhere down the line, they started calling it Crix's legacy. And everyone who's tried to find it has wound up empty-handed, missing, or dead. If we're gonna beat those odds, we'll first need a lead. And I would wager we will find one on Suvorov.
Dale's leaving out the best part. That this whole search is based on a handful of words on a very old slate. Crix left a lot of big talk on that recording, and not a lot of facts. Some of us believe in it more than others.
Don't listen to her. When we get our hands on Crix's legacy, the fleet will be operating at a completely different level. We will become more than a match for UC Systef. Exactly. Now you're beginning to understand. Okay, enough discussion. We have got a lot of work to do. To that end, the next stop is the lock. I've had Jazz feed the coordinates into your ship's computer. Since Mathis doesn't have a ship, he's going to ride with me. I'll see you down there, Rook. Don't keep me waiting.
Rook.
Where are we heading to now?
The lock.
Alright, this is good. We're having somebody... We've had 2 reports so far that the prison shuttle is inaccessible for some reason, and doesn't make any sense why it's happening. So this will be good to see what happens when you're doing it here. I don't know why this is happening. We've tested... I personally went twice through the full Crimson Fleet storyline. One that was pure UC, one that was pure Crimson Fleet, and then I did the endings that you can get through to the end and make your final decision, so kind of 3. I never had a problem with the prison shuttle. Now, vanilla can have this happen, where something... So the way they have it set up right now is that the prison shuttle is inaccessible until you complete the place, and then they make it accessible. Otherwise, and in fact this is the problem right now, if we do make this, like, force it accessible, is you'll be able to get into the ship before you kill the boss. So they have it set up in the quest to go through and open up that door after the boss is killed. So it's a tricky problem because we're depending on their scripting to make that ship accessible. And so we would have to, I guess, make a separate script that we run to try to force it or something. I don't know. We could open the doors and then it's on anybody to do what they do. We'll see. But this seems like a vanilla problem.
I'm only going to go through this once.
Because I know Sarah has dug through the Crimson Fleet storyline, and like the final battle for both of us, we had to go and reload because a ship that you had to kill to move the storyline forward was not there. Then you would exit, reload, and the ship would be there to finish the storyline. And apparently this is quite a few reports put in for this for years. So we're dealing with, in many cases, issues with the game running in parallel to StarSim. And these are just known bugs that have not been fixed.
If you want to fly with the Crimson Fleet, then you need to follow one simple rule. When you're on a job, you do exactly what I say. No questions asked. If that doesn't work for you, just say so, and I will leave you on this ice ball without a ship. You will be dead within hours. Yeah. We have a lot of ground to cover between the landing area and the lock, so let's get moving. Say your prayers!
They're all doing like an awkward jog,
Yeah.
but it's like just too slow to.
Don't they follow your pace? If you're ahead of them, don't they run faster? Isn't that how Starfield's set up for companions? They'll match your pace. No, they just join the fight. Yeah, with these stupid things. They're so mature. Sorry, I just saw that message. I hope there's more people asking us about our ship's extended warranty. I don't want to do that. No, I don't know. Tennessee hates the warranties. And if we add more on there, he's going to be very upset. We have, we have sort of like spam and scam mail, a mail system we've been testing out for quite a while. So you would end up with scam emails coming in that are like your warranty's expiring on your ship and stuff. And some of these will even have buttons for you to respond to them. So you could theoretically go, oh, yeah, okay, and pay it. And then you get a reply email with them saying, sucker, thanks for the money kind of stuff. However, we would sneak in certain ones that actually aren't scam, but they'd end up in the scam and the spam folder. So like one of them would be like, you know, a coupon for a lifetime supply of chunks. You won a sweepstakes or something like that. And if you do it, you actually get that ticket. And then if you were to like stop in at Chunks restaurants every so often, you get like a Chunks random. Gotcha. It's perfect. So we're going to see right now what happens when Zyla gets there. Now, granted, we're always testing this from a standpoint of what we are required to test against, which is just Starfield and then their DLCs. So there's multiple pathways that can happen here, right? So Papyrus gets overloaded. The game is notorious for throwing away, in terms of the way quests are set up in all Bethesda games, they'll do a thing called fragments, where it's a tiny amount of code when some objective is hit within a quest. And so it'll be like, you know, you talk to this person or you did something, and then they just have a little bit of code for the designers to set up to say, do this, change to the next objective, or give you something, or whatever, change some things here to spawn somebody in, to keep this as non-technical as possible. Now, fragments are notorious for being thrown away. The engine just won't call them if certain things are happening. To a fault, where quests will just get stuck because it needed that stuff to actually run. So if for whatever reason, you know, StarSim could be a reason for this happening because there's so much happening in Papyrus, making it more likely for the fragile fragments to work that is needed for it to open up the ship. And so the more in your load order, the more likely for something like that to happen, since they depend so much on fragments. So we'll find out, because this will be exactly the same setup that I did during testing. Because Bethesda will only test against Starfield.esm, not even the DLC. We do an extra step because we utilize some features from at least Shattered Space. So all of our tests included Shattered Space as well. And then I want to say Zyla also has free lanes and Terran Armada in here on top of that.
Yeah.
So I guess the big thing here, Major, is we could go through and just basically say, screw it, we're going to make every one of these quest ships that you get that's parked on the ground accessible and not depend on their system to unlock them. Most of them, no problem. Mantis ship, Star Eagle you get for the Rangers, we want them accessible when it spawns in because there's nothing else happening. This one here is going to be a problem because if we do that same mechanism and you can get into the ship before killing the monster, there's a chance this is going to break the whole game because the quest needs the monster killed to move it forward. Now, it's broken only in a situation where you hop in the ship and try to take off before killing the monster. That's entirely on the person playing the game. If you can get into the ship right at the start and don't, kill the monster, let the quest move forward, you're fine. Are you selecting the, it's weird for ships, so you have to kind of like either select the actual reference for the ship and unlock it, or directly unlock the landing bay door. Or both. Like, ships are weird. They're both a single thing and a compound of a bunch of other things at the same time. And an actor to do AI and stuff. That's very convoluted the way it's set up.
Could you imagine being stuck under a place like this for the rest of your life?
Yeah, sure. Must have been better than the hostile.
Wait, shut up a second. Did you hear that?
You got him, ammo?
You just smack him with your gun. Use a melee weapon. You have other guns?
Should do.
5 of them, in fact. I think you're okay. Glad the pirate buddies are very effective right now. Shooting automatic weapons on the opposite side of the room, hitting nothing.
Pretty sure they're shooting me more than the enemy.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird with the glitching like that.
Must be a nest. I bet these things are crawling all over the place.
Yeah, and their buddies probably heard us firing from about a kilometer away. Hallelujah. If we weren't on this job with Delgado, I'd drop you for saying that.
Enough already. I should have known better than to bring both of you at the same time. Now let's see. Looks like we are inside some sort of prisoner transfer area, but everything is locked down tight. Since you are such good friends, why don't you and Mathis head up to that control room and see if you can get some more of these doors open?
This ice and rock must be several meters thick. God damn it, we're cut off. Hey, Del. Can you hear me? Del! Shit. There's no way we're getting through here. Well, this is just great. The hell are we supposed to do now? The plan? Who gives a shit about the plan? Let's face it, we're on our own now. Why? Because that's what his loyal little soldiers are supposed to do? The hell with that. I have a better plan. We use this opportunity to take out Delgado, and at the same time, make some serious credits for ourselves. Oh, come on. We're just a couple of rooks. When are we ever gonna have a chance like this again? Let's pretend for a second Delgado's correct, And there's information here about
Does anything ever come out of this? I've never
Once
actually
we get
tested
rid of
that
it,
pathway to
we'll
actually
dig up
turn
the
on
garbage
Delgado.
ourselves
I
and
assume
sell
that it's
whatever
basically
we find to
impossible. You
Neva.
break the whole
We'll
storyline.
be rolling in
I
credits.
haven't. I don't like Matthias. So I don't usually go with him.
I'd have to assume that Matthias gets
Suit yourself.
right. I'd have to assume
Yeah,
Matthias
for a
gets
second there,
shot and killed
I was
if you
almost
attempt to
starting
do that.
respect you. Now, let's find a way out of here.
I know he can become your follower if you like be friends with him. And don't
That's
tell
what mine
him.
did. Like basically, if you do this part here, and then we can get in the prison shuttle, which would be good. Then the way you explain it to Delgado, he becomes like your super friend from that point forward.
Right, I always turn him in.
I guess that's one way through. You see, they burned some serious cash when they lost this place. Serves them right.
Is anyone up there? Can either of you hear me? Hello? Hello? Come on, we need these doors open. So the two of you made it, huh? Don't worry, it all goes downhill from here. Now listen up. We have obviously been cut off, so I need you to do two things. First, I want you to keep looking for a way to open the rest of the doors down here. Otherwise, I'm not going anywhere. And second, try and dig up whatever you can about Jasper Cricks. You both got that? Yeah? You'd better. And tell Mathis not to get any bright ideas, or I will gut him myself.
Attention. Lockdown mode has been rescinded.
Can't believe this is where the
And that's
fleet
the
started.
question in the chat.
It's history, man.
Oh.
Blows me mind.
When does the 1.0.10 drop? We're doing testing, actually. Kind of seeing 1.0.10 play out right now. We're still on the fence on the approach we're taking here to dynamically adjust chip parts. We have differing views in the team, outside of the team. So today is testing. I need to also get the mining conglomerate patch out after the stream is done. So everybody's been waiting months and months and months, as have we. It seems to be working fine for folks in StarSim, so we're going to do the same for everything we do. So any future patches, we were always going to have the patch for everything that we build separate, and then we were going to be submitting builds for Bethesda to do their formal QA, and that's just the system we'll take moving forward. Our background's indie development, by the way. Like Steam, you just basically, you go through like a week for certification. They make sure that what you're launching actually is what you say it is. That's it. Once you get past that first 7 days, you can do beta branches, you can push patches out immediately. There is no more verification of this stuff, and that's our background. So it's tough for us because we develop very quickly, and we want to get those changes out once they're tested very quickly, and that's just not how this program is set up because Bethesda wants to do a full QA pass. And we respect that. And they found bugs that we have not even thought to look for. So it's a good problem to have. But then you got to wait months. We're almost 3 months right now on Mining Conglomerate's patch. And if something's broken, we can't wait 3 months, 2 months, a month. Oh, they dig in. I know there's complaints in the exterior of this whole program that, you know, what's the point of Bethesda QA? We went 6 months. They run into a blocker, and then we had to go and fix it, and then do a new build. And they found quite a few things that we had no idea even to look for because they have a better understanding of their game. So it's a huge service that benefits everybody. But it's for the entire program. So if all the authors are making really awesome content and they all push it, all of it's got to be QA'd. And this is the problem where you have so much content from really good authors that's just in the queue. And then we push something for StarSim, and, you know, it can take a few weeks to dig through just how complicated StarSim is. So, you know, the benefit now is we'll do the patch. It'll be up to date always. It's tested very well for what we're able to do. It's going to be rough around the edges. It's just the case. But you'll get it immediately once we get the stuff done. And then we kind of see it as, you know, the build that Bethesda is working on is the stable branch that is catching things that we may miss. And then those fixes get pushed into the patch as well. And then we have the cutting edge, I'm not going to say beta branch, it's just we're launching it the same way we launch stuff for Emberlight and more for the Overworld. So you just can launch it when you've tested it and you're happy with the results. Now, it sucks because by doing this patch, achievement friendly goes out the window. I get it, but there's no choices here. Like, we can't accept pushing StarSim or anything we do and not getting you guys fixes out when we fix the stuff. Like, it's got to be immediate. If we left it the way it is for 1.08, for people that are getting confused about this stuff and they couldn't get access to plotting courses and all the other changes, that's catastrophic. So, yeah.
I was keeping a check of my health.
Oh yeah, Mathis is a huge help.
I don't even know where the last save was.
It's probably on Vectera. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I think we get this patch out next if this system can actually work and people are comfortable. So here, cool. We got quite a few folks on the stream here. So let me just lay it all out for what we're doing right now and just get your guys' opinions on this, right? So what we're attempting to do, and this is a core tenet for kind of how we're approaching things, is I want to minimize the need for patches no matter what. Sometimes when we're doing the stuff for minimizing the patches, it's going to come into conflict with a smoother way to do things. It's going to come into conflict with other things that are installed in the load order. So when it comes to the dynamic ship balancing, what we're doing here, the thought process is you've got Falklands and you've got Tayo, Deimos, Stroud Premium Edition, all those stuff installed. Right now, the parts are fine. They're unbalanced. You install them on your ship, it can be a pretty noticeable difference in your ship kind of becoming tissue paper because of the changes we did. The thought process with this system is it doesn't matter what parts you have installed in your load order. What we do is you build your ship. When you're done building the ship, our system go through each of these different ship stats, your hull, your shields, all this stuff. Are they within the bounds of what it takes to be useful playing in StarSim? No. Cool. Let's get it into the band of what we expect for all of our ships if you're using an M1 scout ship. Does an adjustment, and then now your ship, no matter what you have installed, works. So that's the concept. Now, we have two competing views on this, because one view, including some folks in the team, feel that this is now going to remove choice. If you have other stuff in there, you're not getting the nuances of each of the pieces the way that they're designed. And so therefore that can be considered a problem. And then we have a lot of pushback because some folks in the team and external don't like the fact that we changed the stats from vanilla. To make it clear, all right, let me give you some examples here. So anybody who's on the fence on this whole process of why we changed the stats, we didn't do this on purpose just to annoy folks about doing this. I'll give you some examples right now when you're looking at every single space sim that exists currently, right? Here's damage, the full damage spectrum from all of vanilla Starfield. The worst weapon does 3 damage. The best weapon does 63. The worst missile does 80 damage. The best is 264. It's very similar, in fact, to Elite Dangerous, both games which are player-focused. There's not really ship classes. It's a player progression path with controlled encounters that you run into that have been hand-designed around there. Now, look at the ones that are actual simulations, where there's defined ship classes, there's things happening in space that are around you. X3, X4, Star Citizen, and No Man's Sky, all 4 of them work that way. Here's damage outputs on these. X3, 1200 damage to 6000 damage for normal weapons, and I'm only doing A through C or equivalent. 200 to 285,000 damage for missiles. X4, where they tighten things a bit, 30 damage to 2392 damage for normal weapons, and 1,000 to 17,000 damage for missiles. They basically kind of went down a factor of 10 for a lot of the stuff in X4. Star Citizen, 40 to 1100 damage, 600 to 18,000 damage for missiles. They're actually almost identical to what X4 does. I think they're taking their stats. And No Man's Sky, 35 to 80,000 damage for normal weapons, and 60 to 3,000 per volley for missiles. Now, Starfield and Elite are grossly outside of the values for all the rest of them because they're not designed to be a space sim. Period. That was not the intent for Starfield. It's a arcade shooter in space in controlled encounters that are built around that balance. And that's true in terms of how they designed the whole thing. That does not work when you're trying to build a space sim. So the Starfield numbers gives us no flexibility, and it even hindered Bethesda's ability to do capital ships. Every capital ship in that game is a slightly stronger C class. They couldn't go very far past those numbers, or you would have no ability to kill any legendary ships. So you have to make changes to the numbers at a fundamental level. What we did over years is we took all those numbers I just went over on every single piece of everything in the entire game. X3, X4, Star Citizen, No Man's Sky, and we basically built ours off of there because they've already looked at what it takes, and they kind of come in line with what they did for their numbers as well. And that's the numbers that we went with our adjustments in what's in StarSim right now. So we get people don't like that, but it's what it took to have 8 defined ship classes for the military side, and 3 defined passenger ships, and 4 defined transport freighters to make them all feel unique. They are 100% different. We're having a conversation right now on the server from Simon saying had a M1 A-class ship that was 7,600 shields and hull. Ran into another A-class Thresher, which was 9,000. That's within the band. Those two can take each other out. Ran into a C-class Corvette from Varun with 270,000 shield and hull. That's by design. You have no chance in a Scout in any other space sim to take out an equivalent cruiser Corvette. None. Zero. You can take out ships of the same class, and if you're really good, you can take out maybe the next class up. But generally speaking, if you're going through and you have Scout ships in X3, you need like 5 to 10 of those to take on a fighter, and you need 5 to 10 of those to take on a corvette. It's not something you can do on your own. So that's the approach we took. It's why it synergizes so well with Watchtower and Fleet Commander. You can go through and build your hangar and call these in of lower end ships to take on tougher threats you're running into. It's not about your own ship and that's it, which is how Starfield approaches it. So there's a huge emphasis on Watchtower and Fleet Commander having a material impact on how you're progressing and fighting harder ships in the future. So just so it's clear. And then by using this dynamic system, now you're able to go and have all your ships, no matter what parts you have, just work. You don't need to get separate patches for these. We do need to do a patch for weapons, because there's no way we found to actually fix the weapons with the way Papyrus works. So you need at least that. But from what we found so far, there's not as many that have parts that also include weapons as much as it's all the other stuff, cargo and structural and apps and stuff like that. So all of those would just work. So just understanding, you know, it's 3 years of playing in spreadsheets, and we would have preferred not having to do all this balancing, because balancing is not fun. StarSim's gone through 4 or 5 balancing passes through the QA period. Just tweaking things. We go in the UC simulator, see how it feels. Doesn't feel right. Cool. Go back in again, tweak certain things until it feels right, that the combat encounters are doable. Balancing is not fun. It's a long-term process. So when we're able to go through and pull in values from other games who have gone through that and then tweak them into what aligns to Starfield, it gives us a stronger base. We can spend more time into other areas because it's already been proven. They use very similar numbers between themselves because those numbers work to express each of the ship classes.
Keep doing what we've been doing. Right. Glad I asked.
So we get pushback.
We should start
That's the
off by
mindset
searching
why
the
we
tower
approach
for
it the way we
location of
did.
Frix's cell.
And we're not changing that.
If he stashed any useful
We want these
information,
classes to be
it might still be
very
hidden somewhere
distinct
inside.
when you run into them. There's a missing shield warning for the Free Start quest ship. Yeah, the 1.0.10, we finally have cleared the rest of the problems with missing parts. Sarah knocked that out yesterday. So no matter what, when we can push that, I'm hoping tomorrow morning, that should have cleared up the last bit of any weird stuff happening with any vanilla ships missing parts. As well as the, what did we do? We fixed a bug with the plot course if you have it installed in a existing save. What else we got here? Recently captured ships not traveling through gates has been fixed. So I think it was if you flipped any vanilla ships, like when you disabled and board them, those for some reason weren't allowing you to go through a gate, but it would let you grab jump and things like that, if I remember correctly. That's been fixed. It's been fixed. Yeah, vanilla ship modules are fixed twice. I think they're now completely cleaned up. Strafe speed's been halved. We're not going to return it back to the extremely slow 10 meters per second. A lot of folks have been enjoying strafing and thrusters, so we cut them by half. They're still now super tactical for combat. Ship scans, we're having some issues where they would begin the scan and then not properly run through, rarely. I think this was actually brought up by a few people this for saying why they couldn't go and land. That's been solved. There was an issue where sometimes, and I think it was also connected to the ship scans, that you couldn't fast travel at all, only use gates. That was, I believe, from the ship scans. That's been cleared up. There was a bug that Simon brought up, or Echo on the server brought up, where if simulation ships flew into when you were talking to the emissary in their footsteps. The way they had that coded was not good, because it would basically lock you out of the ability to do anything else from that point forward. So we had to make some adjustments to the quest scripts for that one to make it a little more stable. You'd basically be sitting there talking to the emissary, and then like Spacer Raid would come through, engage both of you, cut the dialogue off, except you're currently in dialogue and can't talk to anybody. You can't attack anybody. You can't really fast travel or do anything with the way it was set up, which is not a bug from Starfield standpoint, because those encounters are hard-coded. They have exactly what ships need to be there. There's no chance of other ships arriving, so there's nothing broken. It's StarSim's interactions with ships flying through the gates can mess up a lot of these quests, depending on how they were set up. And it's very situational. It's just timing. Oh, you're trying to find the Crix thing?
Yeah, it says it's in...
This, yeah, I got so confused on this. I was here for 15-20 minutes. Nope. Oh. Cold, you're getting colder. No, that's just a toilet. No, not cold, that's just the ceiling. Yeah, it's definitely no. Oh, colder. Warmer. Nope, colder. Oh, there's a delay on this too, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They gave it away in the chat.
100 years old, eh?
The lamp.
It's amazing this entire
The lamp,
place hasn't
yes.
collapsed
It's, yeah, like, they don't give any quest pointers for this. So I'm just like looking around like, did Crix put it in like the ceiling rafters, under the bed, in the pillow? I'm running around this whole thing for like 20-30 minutes. I'm like, this is broken. What's going on here?
You
And
also
then
got
just
the food tray that's like on top of the toilet like that, so it makes you think that it's gonna be there.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's just, at this part, I was just so confused. And I don't really even care for the quest markers. Like, I'm old school on these ones, but I just couldn't think about it until finally I'm moving my mouse around. I'm like, oh, this desk lamp can be turned on, and then pry it loose. I'm like, okay. It's cool. I like when Bethesda did this, but, it broke my old brain. Miss Freelane says, what do you think the most time-consuming but also unexpected part of this whole endeavor was? Oh, everything. I would say attempting to build a simulation into this engine was by far the most time-consuming, because you have to build this in such a way that, like right now, you're running around here doing all this quest stuff, and in the background, thousands of ships are doing things right now, and you're not seeing any true impact on it while you're running around doing this stuff. That was a insane amount of code to get to that point. Now, does it get rough around the edges every so often? Absolutely. If, you're trying to, I would have rage quit, but I was being required to do QA for Crimson Fleet, so I had no choice. So yeah, it's just to get this performant enough with the confines of what Papyrus does. It's the equivalent, I would say, here is Will Wright building the original SimCity to work on a floppy disk on computers that had 1/1,000,000th of the amount of memory and processing we have now, and yet he pulled it off. Now, is Papyrus that slow? No, but it is approaching with the way that they have constraints on what Papyrus can do. And you got to basically fit everything you're doing in a very tiny period of time, and you can't let it build up too much, because if you do, the game crashes. So it's a delicate balance of do enough work and then take a breather. Let everything else breathe and catch up. Then do a bunch of work, then take a breather on many, many systems. Of course, I mean, that's or my background with nuclear reactors in the Navy, running these nuclear reactors on computers from 50, 60 years ago, and they work. So my stance always is everything is doable if you put your mind to it. And so I didn't want to go in there and be like, we had to go script extender and we had to go do da-da-da-da. It was, can we do this in such a way that everybody can play it, console and everything like that. And there's enough parts in Starfield's version of Papyrus that it is very close to any other programming language. And as long as those parts were there, I don't think StarSim could have happened with Fallout 4's version of Papyrus. It would have been close. Skyrim's absolutely not. So, you know, that evolution of their language is what allowed this to happen, which means this is now the baseline. Elder Scrolls 6 will be at least this version of Papyrus plus more. So we could do some crazy stuff in Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 when it comes down to it. So do I want to do another space sim again? Yeah, probably not. This was hell.
We need a space sim in Elder Scrolls 6.
Well, I would say Elder Scrolls 6 is probably going to have like a ship sim. It seems like from a lot of the postings from people working on it that they're taking the shipbuilding system and they're building it into it as a way to build ships that are on the ocean, kind of like Sea of Thieves, stuff like that. So you could have a simulation that's playing out in the water, but you may not need it, right? Simulation has always been in other Bethesda games. Like they simulate schedules for each of the people. That's going to come back, I would expect, in the next game. So you'd have people like working during the day and then drinking at the end and then going to sleep and da-da-da-da. So you probably don't even need a system like that. This was entirely needed because there isn't any system like this in Starfield. Will the Papyrus No Limit and Starfield engine fixes affect anything? So you have to be careful on that, right? So you can go through on PC. We couldn't see if that did anything on console, but you can increase how much Papyrus does per frame. Right now, if you think about it, you're going 30 frames per second. So every frame takes about 16 and change milliseconds to reach 30 frames per second. Of that 16, 1.2 milliseconds is set aside for Papyrus. A very small amount, that's it. So each frame, you have exactly 1.2 milliseconds to have all Papyrus run through. Whatever's not done is worked on the next frame. And this is where people run into problems, right? So you have everything Starfield's doing is there to work through. There's everything StarSim's doing and everything in your load order. And where you run into problems is that there's just simply too much to process in those little snippets of time. This is what causes, for instance, people running into problems with plotting courses right now. So we want to have it where you get notified immediately, but the notification is a script. So if you push the button to plot a course and there's 15,000 other things happening in Papyrus, they have to all complete before your button press runs. And so that's why when you sit and plot a course and nothing happens immediately, it's typically because there's just too much happening at that time. Once it catches up, you're fine. And then I think what's happening is it's getting compounded because you're hitting the plot course button, nothing happens, and then you hit it again. Well, doing it twice canceled the plot course for the first one. That's our mechanism for doing that. So now you're waiting and waiting and waiting. When you clicked it twice and you actually shut it off, it's not going to do anything. And so I would much prefer, if I'm doing a space sim again, I'm working in the engine directly to build this in a way that none of these problems can happen. I find it remarkable that this stuff works as well as it does in Papyrus, but we're doing it in a suboptimal approach. So I'm all for if they want to contract us out for Starfield 2 to build space sim from the ground up, I will happily code it in C++ in the creation engine, and then you will have instant mapping and instant simulation and instant everything and no problems.
Look at this.
It's awesome. I'm such a perfectionist. My fear of failure often stops by before I'm starting. Yeah, we just build and launch. I've kind of given up on that aspect. I think that's what can cause some issues. A prime example of this is Ed Levine from BioShock, right? So by having 2K above irrational, you're given this has to go out in this state, period. So you're forced to have to go through and just get the stuff done. But in many cases, you know, especially if you're creative, which I am as well, you know, you're never quite happy with what you're doing. And so you're constantly iterating and making it better and making it better. And you just get into a loop where you're just doing that and never hitting a completion point. And me, the producer, which I also do, understands that we've got to get this out. So we have to accept good enough and get the stuff out. We can come back and refine later, but good enough is usually amazing for most people that are seeing this stuff. They're not going to see all the nuances of things you're doing. And so our objective always is, is this working? Is this fun? Yes, we can go and spend another 3 months on this, and we probably will later on, but if it's working and it's fun and it's passed all our tests, it's ready to go. You seem to be over-encumbered, I think. You're carrying too much. You don't need all that stuff.
Drop some weapons.
I know you're working on space, but any chance you wind up giving landfaring NPC routines down the road? Not for StarSim. So the only thing we can see that would touch any of the planets would be some kind of integration with outposts. So one of the concepts we haven't proof of concept this at all yet, it's just all in design, is you'd have a landing pad you can place in an outpost that attaches into the space economy, basically. It sees your outpost as like a virtual station. You can then go through and say, I want these products I'm making on that outpost to get pushed to that landing bay. And that can be sold off and picked up by freighters, your own and in the AI side of things. And then vice versa, you can have it where the freighters in space are landing at that landing pad and dropping off resources that you're requesting. So it would make it so your outpost is properly interconnected with the whole economy we have in space. So if we do that whole thing early, it gives you a means right now to pull from stuff that is happening in the economy right now. You can already do some of it, like transport missions are already pulling from our products. So it is partially accessible if you're going more the economic route now, as opposed to piracy, which is everything we have in here right now. It seems to be piracy working really well.
These guys do a lot of damage.
They are. They're really annoying. It gives me PTSD from all the New Game Plus testing when I was inside that Reliant place, and they had those blood tick things, whatever the hell that were in there, that were brutal. On top of the hat things that were outside attacking the turrets. Do you know the person that worked on the Grogu mod? I don't recall. What was the Grogu mod? I personally haven't done a lot of modding. I've been really in StarSim since October 2023. So I haven't really actually played Starfield or watched the mods since then, with how long this has taken to build. Nice. We get that installed in the StarSim. Have it floating around in space. Force pushing the ships into an asteroid. Alright, here's the big test, Sila. If you break my shuttle bay, I'll be really upset.
Armory? Looks like they cleared this place out.
If it's me playing, then it will break.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be annoying right now because it's gonna work for you.
What do we have here?
I know Major's having some issues.
This ought to...
And then it's back to the same problem we always run into in game development, where it works fine and we can't replicate it on the developer side, and then have no idea what we're going to do to fix the problem.
All right, let's keep moving.
Oh, Grogu is the Mandalorian, right? Am I thinking of the right thing? Sorry, I'm not very Star Warsy. I like all space equally, but I've always preferred Star Trek. But I like watching Star Wars. I've watched all of them. They're fun.
It's time to put some things down.
I'd love to see StarSim built into the Star Wars Genesis. Kind of get the... I don't know if the gates necessarily link into Star Wars' world. Somebody told me that there is some gates in some parts of Star Wars, so theoretically it could fit. Well, that's the thing too, like with the Expanse, you know, like really what's going to happen here is we're going to have all these tools in front of everybody for how they want to specialize space. So it's the reason why we're doing things modular. We're going to have free creations and we're going to have paid creations. They're going to be much lower price than what we have now, and they're going to have a distinct purpose as to what they're doing. So you can basically go in there and say, I want to have my space work this way, and grab a few of the free ones we built for like whatever we do in those, and then a few of the other ones that give you more whatever for future features. I know right now our big three that we're working towards, because we need this. Phase 1 basically was get the simulation working, get the network working, and get all the space features in vanilla to work better. Give them more purpose. You'd absolutely use ship dialogue more often, especially if you're doing piracy. You absolutely use the ship scanner all the time now to see stuff on the planets and what's in space, to find the gates, things like that. You situationally use ship stealth. I think the part that I've been using in some of the tests, I'm not going to be using it in space to sneak around. It's way too slow in too large of an area to work with. But what I've been finding is a neat trick. It's the same way you would be playing as a stealth whatever in Skyrim and Fallout, right? You stealth before you walk through the door. Then you get in the door in some room and they can't detect you, and then you begin trying to figure out where the hostiles are at. That process works perfect in StarSim because you can go into stealth mode before going through a gate, and then any ships outside of 10 kilometers have no idea you're there. So for a smuggler, that's perfect. The ships can't even detect you're there to scan you. If you're sneaking through House Faroon or Crimson Fleet territory, perfect. You need to make sure you're keeping that scanner up, and you do not want any ships to get below 10 kilometers, no matter what. And then you don't need to stealth the whole thing. You just stealth far enough that now you can just basically rev up the engines and boost to get through a gate to get away from them. So they all have a purpose. Somebody brought up that the scanners, the level 4 scanner perk, actively works. It'll scan the cargo bay of ships, which you would basically never use. I didn't even know it was even a feature in the base game. Now this is huge for, it goes both ways. Let's say in the future we have it where you can actively join the security of UC, and you're paid to detect contraband sneaking through. So now you can go through and run the scanner and check freighters coming through, and then you get paid each time you detect them trying to sneak in, acting like the scanner, the security ships. Or right now you can already use that to detect if a freighter actually picked up something recently, which somebody did. They had like 100 and something crates of something. Or you just don't even waste your time to take over the ship if you're being a pirate. So like, that's what our goal was right now. There's a lot of features in Bethesda's rendition of Starfield that just weren't expressed because you weren't in space enough. That were awesome. Like zero-G combat in space is nuts. And I've not had that in any other game I've played before. So it's like, these things now have a purpose. You knock somebody's grav drive out, and then you board them. You're now trying to get through their entire ship without any gravity to go and take it over. Or the different encounters that Bethesda has in there with like the Daimler's armored transport, where it's like turning on and off. Awesome. The atmosphere for those is fantastic. So I think we've got that part done, and we're just ironing out the last bit of stuff we need for like bugs and feedback. And then now our objective is we need to get this to a point, the whole StarSim concept, to directly compete with the main space sims that are out right now. And to do that, we need autopilot. You need stuff to do while autopilot is running. You need the economy fully accessible by the player to give you agency in the economy itself. You need ways to have war and combat and shipbuilding and all this stuff. So I think when we get through those 3 modules, now you have a complete baseline space sim that also is being designed to work with all those Starfield features at the same time. And the sky's the limit. We have a laundry list of features we want to investigate from that point forward and just keep building and building. Narrative too. We have a few storylines in the works that'll hook into StarSim. Which feature? Wait, that's in StarSim. I thought that was a feature from Better Boarding Encounters Enemies Board My Ship mod. That's standard in vanilla. Yeah, if you do like the ship targeting and you take out somebody's grav drive completely and then you board them, there's no gravity in those ships. There's a lot of weird features in the base game that aren't really expressed. Like, if you crit the crew in a ship and you wipe the crew out, the ship becomes derelict in vanilla. We actually, in StarSim right now, extended that system, so this can happen both ways. If an AI ship is attacking another AI ship and they crit the crew, they will turn the ship derelict. So theoretically, we're still trying to kind of watch it play out a bit more, but in large combat, whether it's in a AI turn-based or in real time, you could see derelict ships get created, quote-unquote, while battle's happening. It's rare, very rare, but is in StarSim right now. And then theoretically, the turn-based does sort of the same test. It'll basically check to see, you know, did you hit the crew when the turn happens for combat. Oh, for sure. Miss Freelane said, I think TG's Galactic Harvest goes so well with StarSim, especially with autopilot. Even the Galactic Colonies that she did as well. I think, personally, if you're looking for Starfield 2.0, Starfield 2.0 will be when StarSim is fully expressed, coupled with a settlement creation that actually makes colonies a full thing. I think when those are both fully out, whether it's us getting into it in the future, I don't know if we would do that, or somebody else doing that, and you can actually build colonies that function like sim settlements. There's so much to do now in the game itself that you're not just limited by knocking out the storylines and then that's it, I'm done, kind of thing.
They built the office right next to the shuttle bay for quick escapes.
Bard's Outpost recruitment adds a few cool things, but there's still a lot to be desired. I think the problem is, honestly, for colonies, and I don't understand what the thought process was, but you had a perfectly good system with sim settlements that's loved by many, that makes settlement building much more intuitive. You could have just taken that verbatim and just plugged it directly into Starfield. In a game focused on colonies, there's an entire faction with a list focused on getting people established in the colonies. So you could have just took that verbatim, spruced it up, and snapped it into Starfield, and that would have held people in the game for months, weeks to months, to actually build out settlements and have them interact with one another and move people around and stuff like that. And then you get the simulation in space playing out. You know, that's kind of, for me, when this really blows up. Because you just have all these options in space. You can be building out colonies that you're managing. They're interconnected with the space simulation, so you're having ships that you control kind of bring in resources down.
Here we go. I'm looking at schematics for the lock, and I don't think there's a way to get you back to the surface from there.
The landing bay is down. Is that good or bad?
The shuttle bay and let you fly one of the shuttles down there directly up to the key. Good answer. You're learning fast. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, of course. So you see the dilemma of what happens in game development, right? Every time we go through in some of these bugs, it never ever comes out for us, and we go, the hell?
Might take a while though. Those bay doors have
It's very difficult to fix this stuff because, like, if we can't replicate it, even though we know it's happening, every game.
I've had it happen with what's it called? The Mantis. Just had that weird issue.
Yeah, it's frustrating. This is exactly why I'd prefer to build this stuff in the engine itself, and kind of see what the engine's even doing for some of this stuff.
And all the glory on this run. That's true. Well, thanks all the same. Look, about all that killing Delgado stuff, why don't we just forget about everything that I said? You know, like it never happened.
Yeah, this is the part where Mathis will love you forever.
Now, let's get the heck out of here.
Oh, this opened.
Yeah, do me a favor real quick here. Go into the ship real quick, because you're going to the boss fight. Ignore the boss fight for a moment. Run into the ship and see if you can get into the ship right now. Light the door.
Is the door?
Do they hide it until, well, that's new. You know, they might just be hiding it until the fight ends, which doesn't make a lot of sense why they do that. Well, that can be a new one. Let's see what happens after this boss fight. Boss fight ends. Yeah, that thing. Good luck. Did it fall into it? Oh, is that supposed to happen? Yes. Yes. And you have frostbite.
I didn't have much ammo with it.
I just melee it. What could possibly go wrong? You probably get closer to Mathis. His uber weapon.
I see like nothing to it.
Yeah. Done. Alright. Is there no door?
It's not a door.
Engine. I swear to God. And that's their, like, it's their ship. Verbatim. Wonderful. Hold on. Let's get this moving forward. Try this. I just want to see what happens here, because this will verify if the ship's design is breaking, which is causing this problem. Let me get you the exact UC prison shuttle code. Give me a moment here. Right, yeah, that's the thing. It's the engine's working in mysterious ways here. So we're getting now in this one, the whole hatch is gone, but the landing bay is open. I got into it, no problem of mine. I love this engine. Amazing. I don't think shooting it's going to open up the spot there. What is it? Is it showing inaccessible?
No, it doesn't even show anything like...
Well, can you do TCL in your console and fly up through there and see? Because it could just be like hidden behind that thing to get you in. I'm going to get you the code.
It's like there's just nothing there.
No, I didn't load it at all. And since we're only dealing with the exterior, none of the interior loads until you actually get into the ship itself. So you can't even... Well, go to the cockpit. Sometimes the cockpit is fully loaded, and if you interact with it, it does some weird stuff. Can you use the pilot?
Oh. No.
Nah, yeah, it's the weird copy they do for the exterior. Hold on, I'm getting you the... I want to test something here and see what happens. If you... I don't know what your load order is. What's the... Do you know what your load order number is for StarSim? It's probably going to be the same as mine, where it's... let me load this up with Terran Armada. I assume it'd be 3. Like 03 would be what your StarSim is right now. We'll just spawn another one of them in. Hey, just try it. So do, in your console, you would do player.placeAtMe. And then the code you're going to use for that to see what happens here, just for science, is base. And then it's going to be 0300 2C E7. And we're going to see what happens. It's going to spawn. All right, so it's saying that that's not the right number for your StarSim. Try 4. I don't know what else you have installed right. Well, here, I'll tell you the exact number. I'll load up. You'll know it works because you'll have a ship spawn when you get out of the console right on you.
Is sensitive?
No. You didn't. The last one did something. I saw it. It didn't throw an error.
Oh, there we go.
All right, go see if the doorway.
Oh, there we go. It says it's inaccessible though.
All right, now, so you're showing exactly what Major's running into. So it shows the ship should be loading this in, and it's just busting. And this would be standard. Every ship starts inaccessible by default. It's supposed to. And then quests will make them accessible. Now go back into, make sure you're highlighting the door, and go into console, click on it, the door, and do unlock. Enter. Alright, we solved everything. Not really.
I'm still in...
Yeah, you'll be still in the ground.
Oops.
Until that takes off. Alright. I'm going to have to probably just go through and force accessible all those and just deal with the ramifications of it. That one looks like a cell load problem with what you just had, because we just proved right here that the ship definitely has a working ladder. So I think something just screwed up that ladder might have shown up again if you saved, exited, and came back sometimes. But it's, yeah, you can see we're fighting with the engine and quite a few things in this game. Oh, and you destroyed your ship. Yeah, it's weird. So like, for us to support the quest ships, we had to basically go through and intercept the ships because they're pre-placed. This ship is always there. The Manus ship is always at the Manus at the very beginning of the game, and you don't want to mess with those pre-placed ships because they're connected to all these quests. You can't delete them and then put your own placement in. So we had to do a trick to basically go through and leave the reference they place, but switch it out to point to our version of the ships. And generally it's worked fine. Like the Frontier was like that as well. So this way they're using our parts. Otherwise, if you don't do this, all these ships are in that blueprints file that is the bottom of everybody's load orders, and it'll overwrite anything that any mod does forever for any of the ships that are in vanilla. So this way what we do is we can build our own custom ships. It should be the same. It's whatever Zyla just did, based off of what your load order is. That'll be a quick workaround for you to keep moving forward. Do you have that still in your console, Zyla? Can you pass that over to Major in the chat? Or if you can bring it up again, I'll type it out. Alright, so it'll be whatever your load order is for the first 2 digits, and then 2CE7. So wherever your load order is for StarSim, just change the first 2 digits to match that. That will spawn the prison shuttle, and then you can just clip into it. And then, yeah, I'm going to just, I got the bug report already in. I'm just going to go through. I'm done fighting with the engineer on this stuff. I'm just going to go through those pre-placed ships and switch the doors to be accessible always, and whatever. You know, if folks go into it before the quest wants you to, it's something we'll have to accept.
There you are. The hell took you so long?
It's about time. I was about to fly down and loot your bodies.
Not now, neighbor. Well, you said you found something. Hand it over. That's it? Just one slate. After losing so much of our crew, it better be a map with a big red X on it. Well, I'll be damned. Legacy wasn't referring to Crix's fortune. It's the name of an actual ship. A Galbank transport probably loaded with credits.
Never heard any stories about a Gal Bank ship going down. And even if it had happened, it would have been picked clean years ago.
No, neighbor. Think. If Gal Bank covered it up, and over time, the location was eventually forgotten, it wouldn't be on anyone's radar. Okay, this changes things. Now that we know what we are looking for,
the only problem by going into it early is that the quest, I think, requires that monster thing to be killed. So if you take off early, unless we go through and have it and we change the quest directly to just say either or works, but I don't like messing with their quests because it can create some weird stuff happening if you change exactly how they do it.
All we have to do is find it. Let us start with what we know. It was a Galbank ship, which means the company is going to have records of where it went down. Neva, weren't you working on a deal with Rokov? Something about a big-wig charity event on one of Trident's starliners?
Are you serious? I've been working on that gig for 3 months. That's my score.
Ay, Dios mío. Will you shut up about your score and think for a second? That starliner has a Galbank VIP suite aboard, which means... Come on, Neva. This isn't hard.
Which means a Gal Bank exec will be aboard. We grab their credentials and get ourselves into the Gal Bank archives in New Atlantis. Holy shit, that might actually work. I'll send a message to Rokov right away.
Pack your bags, Rook. You're going on vacation. And since you've earned it, take this gun with you. Might come in handy when Rokov screws everything up as usual. Good, because that is exactly what you are going to be doing. Neva and I are too well known to walk around the starliner without being recognized. If Trident security spotted us, it'd be over. I need you to board that ship, make contact with Rokov, and get me those credentials. You'd better. Oh, before you leave, I wanted you to know that
Okay,
I took
this
what you said
one's
about Mathis into
whatever quest.
consideration, and I've
I
decided
think it's the
to
one
let
after
him
this
go.
one that's the big test, but I think we're getting near the end today. We got 13 minutes.
We'll see. That's it then. Next stop for you is Rokov Starliner, the Siren of the Stars. And remember, Rokov does not need to know anything about Grixis' legacy. For now, it's just between us. Now get out of here.
Hey, Rook, before you head out, I need to have a word with you. Meet me at the last Nova after you wrap things up with Mathis.
I'm not sure is that conveyed in creations. I know it'll show the load order number in like Model Organizer or Vortex.
I think this commands you can check to see like what like the number is, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah. Here, hold on, let me check in here. I'm reading that if you go into the creations menu itself, that the load order button should show the numbers of each of those. And then the other one I'm reading is if you do help and then do in quotes something that I guess would be in StarSim. I'm trying to think what you could even type in for that. That would give you the number for where StarSim is in your load order as well. Because it has to be the hex number for the way that the engine reads it. So if StarSim is the 150th mod, then you'd expect the hex for it to be whatever that is in hex.
Need something?
96 would be the hex equivalent.
I'm only stationed on the key until the heat dies down. Then it's back to raiding and pillaging.
We had somebody yesterday that Lynn from the beginning of the game followed the person all the way over to Crete. Don't know how that happened, but as soon as they it's weird because this is the first time we're getting a incompatibility issue in cryomancers. Like nobody else is having issues with it, but with that taken off, that person's load order is working fine. It's just the weird intricacies about how everything interacts.
Selling, the trade authority
363.
Fleet's got an impressive commerce. They even managed
So
to
it'll
let
be
Jimmy doctor among their ranks.
See, it's tough. Look, there should be two numbers because you would also have, since the 253 technically is the limit.
Not everyone thinks.
But if you're using like small masters and medium masters, it lets you get past that limit. On Mod Organizer, you should see two numbers. The one that's the actual load order number, which would be the 2 digits, and then the one that's the actual how many I've installed. It's the load order number is the one that you care about to do anything in. There you go. That's perfect. So if you did 56, 56002C E7 for a place at me call in the console, that's going to spawn that particular thing. And situationally, if this is happening for folks every so often, I'm going to obviously try to fix it so it doesn't happen. But for folks on PC at least, and you can use the console, I can get the codes for certain things that get stuck. Granola mix. There's only two things, originally was one, that we saw within the Crimson Fleet storyline. We have that one problem, which is a vanilla issue when you have to kill all the ships to let the storyline move forward when you first arrive at the key. If you support the UC. And for some reason, and it's been noted on vanilla, some of the ships just won't spawn in correctly, and you have to basically save, exit completely, load back in, and the ships will pretty much always load up. And then it looks like the other problem is just prison shuttle. Everything else so far has been fine. We saw a minor issue in testing when you have the Jade Swan flying you out to the military base, that it takes a moment for the military base to load up, but it seemed like the Jade Swan still went through the motions of docking, regardless of the status of the SY-920.
I don't even want to think about what could have happened. Oh yeah, sure. Anything you need, you just ask. And I'll be there to back you up.
I thought we did, the last patch we pushed out, I think you can just put down the navigation table by default. You shouldn't need, I don't think, any sort of research to access it. I'm not certain on that though. I know Sarah set that part of it up. So if there's a requirement.
Alright, look. I've been lining up a score with that asshole roll call on the side.
And we're trying to find better ways to present these maps, because another map's going to come out pretty soon, showing everything within the orbit.
You're gonna finish the job.
We've got to find space on these ships. Not a lot of space to work with. So like I know folks are requesting the wall mounted, but you tend to not have a lot of space on the wall. So I just got to figure out sort of the best way to do these.
Volkov's been tipping me off about some kind of bullshit charity event that the Siren of the Stars is hosting. At the event, they're gonna give away something called the Earth Savior Award, which is worth 10.
Oh, this is the Siren of the Stars.
Credits.
I like this one.
While you're on the Siren, swiping those gal bait.
We actually, since you can go to this orbit that has the Siren of the Stars, the cruise ship, before you do the storyline, they actually did handle in the way they set the quest up that you can't even get into it until you get to this part, which was a neat little side effect, so we just left that in there. Where you can dock with the cruise ship, and then Rokov will just say, you're not supposed to be here, whatever it is here, and not let you get access into the place, which was perfect. I love those little weird kind of issues that we ran into building StarSim that actually worked out to make things more interesting.
Pictures I've seen, the award is set with 12 blue diamonds and covered in gold filigree. If I get Jazz to take it apart, I can turn it into a hell of a lot of cash. And best of all, the components become untraceable. Then why the hell are you here? We take unnecessary risks every day. That's what being a pirate is all about. Look, you can make all the jokes and excuses you want. But if you don't come back with the ES award, I'm gonna deduct it from your pay. Either way, I get my money. How much you walk away with is in your own hands. Got it? Then it's settled. Good. All right, Rook, we're done here. Now, get your ass to the Siren and bring me my goods. We'll talk later.
Too many missions. Not enough time. Now, you hungry? Because that would be two of us.
Yeah, I think the Crimson Fleet kind of spacers, you can't really join them right now. And Ryujin would be the most expressed. I would say probably Trade Authority, if they offered more contraband missions. That's something we can look into as well. I don't recall if transport missions are offered that give you contraband to move, since we made the adjustments on the security ships to be proximity based. So any kind of missions we can add into the mission board that is contraband driven works a lot better with the way everything's set up. Great news. So that should be it. Everything else from here forward to the last part of the whole storyline should be fine for you. From our testing, which we seem to get some things different. We got the bug report in. I'll dig into that as part of what we're doing right now for today. I gotta get the mining conglomerate patch out right after we're done here in a few minutes. and then we'll see if we can get some of this stuff. I'll just hard code them to be accessible always, and then that should alleviate that. At least the problems of not accessing the thing. The invisible stairs or the ladder that Xylo just had, that's something broke in the cell. That might be something where if you exit and reload. Yeah, I mean, it's if we're going with the lore of the game, Crimson Fleet now becomes like a fourth government with the amount of money they got available to them. So I could see things kind of adjusting a bit. I don't think you get necessarily an embassy,
Doesn't
but
have any weapons on it.
the prison shuttle is a huge, junky ship. I would even sell it off.
Should probably switch back to the Frontier.
Way better. Yeah, I think overall, getting Crimson Fleet a bit more established, they'll have a lot more options if you go that route, and getting House Faroon way more involved. Ecliptic, I think, I don't know, they're positioned as a private military company that has aspirations of control, and we have kind of done that so far. They have a bunch of orbits that they control in the southern and eastern of the entire map. And they're kind of positioned as, you know, we just take orders for protection and stuff like that, and you pay us and we'll protect you and do stuff as mercenaries kind of thing.
So, looks like we got ourselves a new
Yep.
rook.
That Serpent's
Once
Embrace
again, I'm Jazz,
is already incorporated in
resident
StarSim right now.
Like Neva
If
said,
you happen to
need
go
ship
anywhere near
parts,
Varun.
repairs? It may not be wider, but it's not on the books.
I think what the
I can
network
guarantee
needs
your
and the
ship
game
will get the
needs
best solution.
is more action happening around
Anything
you.
that keeps the- Just
Like when you
let
think
me know
about
when
Skyrim and Fallout,
All
you had
business and
conflict.
no-
You had Stormcloaks
Sounds
versus
like
the
fun.
Empire and battles happening around you during the middle of the war. There's a whole... House Faroon has an entire section that's the size of Settled Systems. And then we dynamically snap in Verwinkai if you have Shattered Space to hook to the gate network. But, just like lore, if you aren't a believer, you're dead. So, you gotta be a believer or go through Shattered Space. We actually had, I want to say, Sarah ran into this in an early test. So you'd start Shattered Space up, go through the Oracle, arrive in the capital, do the storylines, and then come out. Except Kavnik, whatever the system is so far away from all the rest of them, you can't grav jump. So she's like, oh. And then she's trying to go through the gate network through, at the time, all the rest of House Faroon was hostile still, because we didn't have a fix in there to make them friendly after Shattered Space, and trying to sneak through 20, 30 orbits full of military ships. And she pulled it off, barely, but that's fixed now. So, like, if you become friendly with House Faroon, then their entire area becomes friendly to you, just like the Crimson Fleet and what we did here. I don't think it's going to cause any problems. Like, Terran Armada hasn't really caused issues. We caused issues with Terran Armada, but I think it's one of those things where it's acceptable. Like, for instance, Terran Armada is advanced, decently advanced, but they're still, you know, not remotely as advanced as the creators in the Starborn, right? So they have that mechanism where they stop you from being able to grav jump and everything. But the gates continue to work, and I think that's acceptable because the gates are so far beyond any technology that humans have right now, even if they're supported by AI and robotics, that the gates would still give you that pathway. Now, is that going to break things when they lock down a place? Unclear. I assume they're probably just disabling your ability to fast travel anywhere, so if you go somewhere else through the gates, you probably can't get anywhere else. But for now, we feel that's acceptable, where the gates give you that avenue to get away from certain places that would otherwise block your ability to do so. I also have Shrouds of the Past installed. I was wondering if that's compatible. I haven't heard anything about it not being compatible yet for anybody that hasn't installed. Yeah, I mean, it's really, we launched and the marketing was too cinematic, I guess, versus being clear what we're offering. So I can see that being confusion. And then it was just, we went the space sim approach, and that the learning curve in space sim doesn't work for a lot of people. So, I think we've done a good job on the feedback so far to make it clearer, to make it easier to get through the network. And now it's really just continuing on the feedback, refining, and going from there. You plotting course back to Phobos? Yeah, so there's probably a lot going on right now based on how long that map took to load up. If you click it once, yeah, it's starting to build the path now. Yeah, your papyrus is being hammered. It's like, oh, do I have to do this? Oh, here's one more. Here, fine, here's this one too. Yeah, papyrus, man, it's tough. It's why, like, EgoSoft always had multiple trailers. They would split everything up into the build, think, whatever I forget the names of all the trailers they did. Fight, think, build, something. So you can focus on your trailers on specifically the features that are in each of those. There's just too much. A simulation's too much. And you're trying to fit it in something that's a few minutes. And even with that trailer, it ended up being 3 minutes or more. We had an original trailer that was like 6-7 minutes long. You're gonna fall asleep through half of it. So like, it's just so difficult to convey. And then even if you convey it, like we did with the features one, you got to really get into it to see all the stuff that's happening. It's not in your face until you start digging into it and go, okay, seamless travel through the gates. These are kind of spacing things out for doing quests and finding content and stuff like that. Do we want to save it here, Zyla, since you're at 2:05, and then we'll continue to Phobos in the next part?
Yeah.
And what's our schedule looking like for this week, if you want to relay it to everybody on here, and then we'll get those events up?
Probably. Was it? I forget.
Today's Sunday.
Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, was it? I think.
Gotcha. So yeah, tomorrow, Wednesday, Sunday. We'll have the events up on the Discord for the next batch of this, but we're going to try to get through all of Crimson Fleet. And then in terms of development, so again, Mining Conglomerate patch should be hopefully next hour or so. The 1.0.10 patch should be tomorrow morning, unless testing doesn't work. And then from there, the rest of this week, we're going to focus on mod compatibility and try to clear up what we can. And then by the end of the month, not the month, well, I guess it would be the end of the month at that point, we're going to be able to start pivoting into the next part of development. So what we're looking at right now is going to be kind of parallel development. We have continued development of Beyond Space for parts that connect into simulation, gate network, and the space features of Starfield. We're going to be finishing up the work in You Have the Helm, which is the autopilot, radio station, orbit map, things like that. And we have a lot of work going into Gazillionaire, which is the economy. So I don't want to give timelines because development is fluid, but we should be in a good state where I can feel comfortable that Beyond Space is working as good as we can get it for now by the end of this next week. We should be looking at You Have the Helm. I would hope to get into a test state by early September if we can get things aligned. And then I want to push Gazillionaire, if everything's working the way it is, before Thanksgiving. So this is sort of September and November for pushing these for folks to kind of dig into. And then early next year is likely when Balance of Power comes out, which focuses on the combat and everything. So I'm thinking by Q2 of next year, so March, April, that we already have all the features we need in here for that core space sim aspects of it. And then we're kind of building from there based on community input for what features folks are looking for and some stuff that we want to go and dig into as well, plus storylines. Last question or thing in here, just to clarify things. If I was to plot a course to a planet and then go somewhere and the quest takes me back to the previous location, does it save the route for quicker plotting, or will it still take longer to plot? The path is saved forever. Including, so the pathing we're using for this is the same pathing that the AI ships use, and then autopilot when that comes live. So once a path is done, that path is saved forever. So the reason why this went quicker for Xyla is we do the both directions of the path, the Phobos to the key and the key back to Phobos. It was just slower to show it on the screen because Papyrus is being hammered at the time.
I mean, if like an AI plots a route and then I went to take that same route, it would plot faster.
You got it. Same thing for autopilot. Go to autopilot, this will be the same thing. You'll have plot course, and then there'll be a new activator on there that says autopilot, and you select it, and then it'll do the same thing in the background to build the path. We'll probably even still show the course on here, but then your ship will just fly through the network and get there for you. You want it to go and do it manually like this. I think the autopilot will make, for any remaining confusion, autopilot will clear up the rest of it, because now you just basically go, take me here, and then it'll just pick the route out and just fly you over there. No thought involved. But cool.
Like not having thought involved.
Well, we want to leave the thought involved to the really fun stuff, like attacking enemy ships and pirating and cool stuff, not I just want to get somewhere here and I'm confused because I'm getting circled inside the same system. So yeah, I want everything, no thought involved. Push a button, does it for you if you want. But cool, let's end it here, Xyla. I think we got a lot shown today, and we'll continue Crimson Fleet tomorrow at noon EST, EDT, whatever. 5 o'clock, I think it's for you.
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Well, what about 6 p.m. ETC?
There you go.
I think.
So yeah. Cool. Thank you, everybody, for being on here today, and keep an eye out for the patches today, tomorrow. Mining Conglomerate first today, and then the newest one for StarSim should be tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for showing up.
Yep, thank you.
Bye.
See you guys later.
The void is yours.
Doctor!